Let's go! Welcome to the show. It's Project Open Mic. Let's get the show off right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here with me, cause it's Project Open Mic. Let's have a good show tonight. Let's get the topic straight. Let's get things good. Let's do everything that we should. It's Project Open Mic. Let's kick the show off right. Let's open our minds and take out our style. Let's see what's going on in the world tonight. It's Project Open Mic. Let's have a good show tonight. It's Project Open Mic. Let's kick the show off right. It's Project Open Mic. Let's have a good show tonight. It's Project Open Mic. Let's kick the show off right. It's Project Open Mic. Let's have a good show tonight. It's Project Open Mic. Let's take this. All right, what's going on, everybody? This is your boy, Take for Project Open Mic. Hope you guys are doing well tonight. This time, start late, and there's so much stuff going on in my life, but I apologize for that. I really do. I know I need to get on a strict program, but again, I'm a one-man show who's doing a lot of stuff, so it is what it is in that regard. So hope everybody's doing very well out there. And get ready for summer's coming in, people. Summer is coming in. So with that said, let me put my lovely mug on the screen for all the lovely people out there. Second here. All right, hello there. Hope you guys are doing well. So I want again, thank you guys out there for giving me your time, your eyes, your ears, your mind to open up to what we're gonna talk about tonight. So I'm gonna try to keep it short and sweet tonight in this regard. Shout outs to everybody out who's joining in. We already have like 1,400 people already in the building, so thank you for that. The topic tonight is going to be is a simple topic, but we'll get into a nitty-gritty about it. Again, remember, in places where I could put a description in, there's a link tree. I want to give a shout outs to Spotify. I wonder if I could show that. Give me 1 second here. Again, I'm new to this thing. That one was not new to this thing. Spotify just put up a new thing on the on their website, which is awesome, and I would love to thank everybody out there. But Spotify is a place where if you want to you can share it. You can share the show. I'm gonna share right now, giving you that right there. So Spotify is basically now doing, let me react with it because it's things, because it's commercials. So you can go to Project Open Mic on Spotify. First of all, we've just had our taxes just been done. So if you guys remember last year, I did a video called the evil truth on taxes. So right now you can see on the screen that for those, this is for people who see, of course, this is Spotify, and you go to Project Open Mic on Spotify. It is in the description. The link tree is in there, but you could go there and you can watch now live video of the podcast. Spotify has been an audio platform. Now they're introducing visual podcasts. So for me, that's what I'll be doing right now. I'll be putting up some visual podcasts of some bits of places, whatever. So the audio podcast will still be what it needs to be, but so you can get a project over mic for that regard. But any specials I have, like this one was a special, you can watch it on Spotify. Of course, you can also go to Anchor, Stitcher, if you want an audio podcast. But this is just another addition to the video, to the video podcast, of course. So if you're on Spotify, so of course you can go to this, and then you can go to YouTube at projectovermike.com, or you could go to Twitch TV. You could go to Nico Nico. You could go to Live Now. You could go to You Now. So, and again, I want to, you guys, let me see if it shows on there. Not really. So let me see if I put up because I'm just showing this situation here. Give me a second. That's just the padlock. So I want to put this and bring this down. Okay. And this. Okay, so if I have it like that, that's what it looks like. Okay. I'm basically showing my screen for what I have on here. And that's why it's kind of like giving me a little problem. I'm trying to show you not only every little thing I have. Basically, I'm revealing everything. Aside from that noise you just heard, I gotta fix that so it doesn't do it. Because I also had it that people was listening to the show a couple while ago and then pop up noise happened in the side chat. So I'll try to fix that as well too. That's my mistake. But I'm trying to show you guys that not only do we have the Spotify, it looked like it doesn't show the program I have because I'm gonna show you that the behind the scenes where you see the Nico Nico and the chat and stuff that I do have, but it doesn't for some reason XSplit does not show up that part of it. So let's just get back to the main camera. I apologize for that, and let's not dilly dally no more. Anyway, go to those places. I wanted to share that the broadcast, how I broadcast to all those things, and show that Nico Nico and stuff, and see how things are a little behind the scenes. But that's enough waffling, dilly dally, and let's get into tonight's program. So, give me 1 second. Yes, I already don't see you in the building, Sprite on YouTube. You already done said. You already done said. Because the show is basically who runs the Tonight's show is about America is evil. So, what other country should run the world? Now, many people say, "Oh, America is bad. It should run the world. America should do this, do that, blah blah blah." You've heard the story. Everybody's talking about it. Even people who I know who are close to me have said that multiple times as well too. Well, in my opinion, I always tell people who are young, so I'm mostly black as well too, black African Americans, but most people leave the country, travel the world. Travel the world and you will see certain things. Now, you get a better perspective. Are you going to get a full perspective? No. But at least open up your mind to certain things out there so you can see that. Yes, right. Um, he's commented, the greatest man of all time, confirmed. Elon Musk. Yes, Elon Musk bought Twitter. There's a topic we'll talk about that in a side chat tomorrow. I'm trying to stick towards this. This is one of the reasons I try my best not to do the I try to keep the project over mic, not the chat itself to talk about stuff because it will it will distract me and I gotta respond to everybody out there. So yeah, I that's why I don't do that. I just let the show be the show. Okay, that's what it is. So with that said, um, You heard people say that multiple times. America, like I said, America is not as has its problems. It's not a perfect country. There's no perfect on this planet. The only person I could say that was Jesus, but other than that, America has its problems. I mean, most of the politicians are pieces of crap. Really, from Joe Biden onto that's a Democrat, onto Mitch McConnell, who is a Republican, and Mitt Romney. You heard me say these names multiple times because these people are.
You piece of loser.
So we got that, right? That's just what it is, right? America likes to. They think that we could just some one thing that America that is bad is they think that money could save everything. No, a lot of people are like, oh, let's throw money at poverty. It doesn't work. Let's throw money at the the drug problem. It doesn't fix that. Let's throw money at the bums. It doesn't fix that. Money does not fix everything. Heck, I was just watching. I just see a story of a woman in North Carolina. The woman that won $188 million, and she took the lump sum, which was $88 million or something like that, and she threw it all away. The statistic that from Pew Research did a couple years ago, I think about 5 years ago, 97% of people within 7 years who won the lotto are broke or even worse. And she proves she became a statistic in that number. So the money does not solve nothing. It really does not in most cases. If you ain't manage your money right, you're gonna be broke as anything. Also, a lot of time, America get poked their nose in things they should not really poke their nose into. Again, the reason why we have the Taliban is because, again, Charlie Wilson, which was a Democrat, gave weapons to the when Russia was invading Afghanistan, and gave weapons to the now before the time, but now Taliban, and of course the Taliban came up and did what they're doing right now and do horrible things. So sometimes there's a lot of times we need to just leave things alone and step back. Now, the thing with Russia and Ukraine is a different story. We signed treaties. People, that's the part we signed treaties to this fact. So we should follow in that. Don't give your word and step back on it. So that is a different story. That's a whole different story, but we're not going to go in that. And it does amazes me and people puzzle me when I see people like, okay, yes, Ukraine was a troubled country. Yes, Ukraine had corruption, no doubt about it. And I was like, even to like I said, remember I said it that I respect and I won't you won't agree with me 100%. I know that. So I don't agree 100% with Candace Owens. She was like, yeah, Zelensky's gonna be a horrible person and blah 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 blah. I think she's wrong on that. And the reason I think it's wrong on that because again, a lot of people got it like, oh, he was a bad person and he was corrupt and stuff like that. And he may have been he had a couple corruption in his little situation, but he was going into a situation that was corrupt. So when he had to let people go and fire people and all that stuff and bring on people, yes, I'm gonna be honest with you. If I got elected and the state was corrupt, I'm gonna bring on people I trust. That was one of the problems that Donald Trump had. President Donald Trump kept people in the what do you call it? They call it again. What they call Washington D.C. the swamp. He should as a businessman he should have literally fired not hire a lot of these people because he wanted to see like, okay, I got people who he should have run like a business. He did great things, but he could have done way more better things if two things were happening if he had fired those people, and that was one of his weakness. And also, if again, I was asked the question because look at how things are now. My thing was, this is a question we'll never know, and it's sad because of the media, how the news media is. If we didn't have the whole fake Russia thing, and all the stuff that they had to do the impeachment stuff with, he could have focused more on doing his job. What would have happened to the country? It begs the question: what would happen to the country if he was focused on that instead of being on in this stupid witch hunt and dumb stuff, and also with the Republicans bailing out him because again, people forget this. In the midterms when Donald Trump was running for when he was the president, the Democrats didn't really win back the White House. They win the White House. They win Congress. They did not win the Congress back. Really, they won it by default because so much Republicans who were rhinos, who were evil people. Trump was messing up their money so much that they were like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna back out. I'm not gonna run. So the Democrat won by default, and that's how that worked. Now let's see what happened because this is election year, and we already gonna still the lies is already gonna start flying all over the place. So let's see how that works out. But in that regard, we have too many um, bureaucrats. We have too many government people putting their noses in things that it should never be, and that's why I said that's a fault of America. That's a bad part of America. Yes, America also had its bad past of course with slavery and everything. But the problem is, I always tell people, which you will see right now, go to any other. Every major country that was a civilization had slavery. The Greeks, the Romans, the Egyptians. We already know that because again in the book, what in the Bible, what was it? The Israelites were basically freed slaves from the Egypt. India still had a caste system. Every country that was a major society had slavery, and right now China has it, which is one of the countries that we're going to talk about, and it's just as worse as back then. But where are the people who always say, "Oh, slavery is bad," whatever? You have no problem fighting against that and sticking your hands up and say, "Yeah, we're gonna bat down to America. America's a bad country." Well, I'm gonna try to help and open up. This is just a little gateway. It's not a lot. It's not a lot, but it's a little bit gateway. I said there's three superpowers out there. They are. Because people say, "Oh man, if America should not run, America is a bad country. We should destroy America." Okay, who would run the country? It ain't gonna be Tahiti, ain't gonna be Fiji, ain't gonna be Michael Nevis, ain't gonna be Sweden. It's not gonna be those countries. There's three superpowers out there: America, Russia, China. That's it. And when I look at those other two options, I stick with America. I have a friend who I have a so there's a friend. I'll say a friend because he married a friend of mine. So I know the guy. I talked to him. I have not talked to him in. No, I did. I have talked to him in a while, recently. He was a black. He was a black Russian. He was born in Russia. His mom was from Nigeria. His father was from Russia. They moved. They married and got up into Russia and stuff like that. And he could tell. I mean, I would love to get him to. I'll try my best to do that. To do a video with him, even if it's just audio. I just want him to explain how Russia is from his point of view because it's crazy. Now, I have not been in Russia, but he's kind of my inside man to it, and then hearing other stories from other people who have fled Russia and all this stuff. Yeah, Russia has communism and socialism. Right now, we have socialism. That's what their country's main philosophy is. But we already see that like I said, they attack Ukraine. And people is like, okay, I'm not, they literally attack a country that didn't do nothing to them. So it's kind of like, okay, this is kind of weird and unprovoked. Right now, they're feeling the hurt and pain in that. Now, per se, I don't have that much videos to push, like to say, talk about Russia and everything, because Putin is a very bad man. He has had his anybody who try to run against him, he's ex KGB, and anybody who try to run against him, he has have them assassinated or poisoned or something. So we already know that's a corrupt setup in itself. And then you have all the oligarchs and everything. Because remember I told you there's two. And people always forget this, and it always stunned me. There are two classes in Russia: filthy rich or dirty poor. And most of the people who always say this is a great system, like a Bernie Sanders, see, Bernie Sanders will be filthy rich. Why? Because he will be part of the oligarchs. But most of the people who follow Bernie Sanders, you know what it will be? Dirty poor. That's what it will be. The oligarchs are people who have like $1 million jets, $200 million yachts. Like they have it all over the place and whatever. Right now, they're feeling the hurt because of what's going on. But that's what's missing. That's what that country is. I want to thank the people who's coming in right now. We up to 2,100, 21,331. Thank y'all for joining the show. So, like I said, getting back into the subject, Russia has its problem. The people, again, I feel for the people out there. There was a video. I should have looked up that video. I'm so sorry. I just remembered it now. Only now I remember it. Today was a bit of video that I could use for the Russia thing, where one of the big oligarchs, one of the richest people in the oligarchs who helped Putin became one of the power. How all evil stuff that he does. There was a video about it, and how the evil stuff he's done. This is recent. Like this is new. This is a recent oligarch, and all his business is in Greece in an office in like a 4x4 office. He runs his whole company from a 4x4 office in Greece. A multi-billion company in a 4x4 office. Yeah, okay. And he does stuff to the land. He let people know that, oh, you guys are nice, whatever. Even though he's literally poisoning the land and poisoning the people, but because he's giving them a little road here and bring grain and stuff there, they are basically, as Stalin used to call them, useful idiots. They don't know that what's underneath their ground is very, very not expensive. Sorry, it's expensive, yes, but what I'm looking for is very rare and very useful. That's what it is. Under the ground, these farmers and stuff like that, but they don't know that why the water is getting poisoned and everything is because of that. And some of these people get poisoned, whatever. And then he comes in, he said, "I'm gonna give you a little medicine. I'm gonna give you like a stuff." So they go and they cheer for him, but behind the scenes, he's literally killing them off. But I do want to play something from kind of Russia. That's Russia like, which is because Russia use socialism. So I want to point out. I want to point out this. Give me a second here. Let's see if this is up and going. So what I want to put out here is basically how I think I should go around this way. Let me reverse it and let me go around this way. I'm gonna use John Stossel's, and let's talk about America. Like I said, I just said a lot of stuff that America has done, but it has to have freedom of speech. And the freedom of speech that people keep on forgetting, if you read the Bill of Rights, it says government, not people. Oh, I have the freedom of speech. Yeah, you have the freedom of speech, but you don't have the freedom from consequences. If you tell your boss he's an idiot, he's a jackwagon, and all that stuff like that, yeah, he can fire you. And a lot of these young kids now are being entitled to think that freedom of speech means you can say anything without no repercussions. The government should not withhold speech from the people. That's what the Bill of Rights says. So if I say Trump, when he was a president, was a
You piece of loser.
I have the freedom of speech because he cannot cut my speech like that. If I say Biden is a
You piece of loser.
Then I think Biden is that. He cannot tell. Oh, I should throw you in jail because you said it about me. No, I didn't slander him. My opinion is, if I'm not telling you, I think, in my opinion, he's a piece of crap loser. There's a one piece of crap loser. Like a lot of Democrats, a piece of crap loser. A lot of Republicans, in that they cannot say, "Oh, we'll come in or whatever." That's the difference. That's what freedom of speech is, and also that we could broadcast like journalism, so people could see transparency. It's funny enough. Remember when Trump got in, that was the most transparent government you had in not even decade, in a century, because of how things were. You had the most transparent government in the longest time when President Trump was in there. Well, zoop, we went from the least transparent, which was the Obama administration, to the most transparent, back to a least transparent again. Not the least amount, because of how things are. That's what we have right now. I want to talk about Thomas is going to talk about stuff right here. I want you guys to listen to this, because the left basically go towards thinking like Russia doing with socialism and everything else like that, and Colonel Marx and everything. What the left does, and I don't say them, I don't say people, I say leftists, because that's they're the more crazy. It's just like a right wing is crazy person. The leftist is that. Not liberal. The thing I'm going to point out in this video is basically where they're going to. The leftists think that the government should take care of everything and whatever. But the problem with that is that when you do not take care, if a lot of people don't do something or don't strive to something else, whatever, you're going to get mediocrity. And mediocrity doesn't create, it cuts inventions, it cuts ingenuity, it cuts hard work, and then you're going to settle back into what Russia is: dirty rich or filthy poor. I mean, made no difference anyway, yeah, but filthy rich and dirty poor. That's just basically what it is. So I want to just play this right here so you can see what I'm talking about.
After last summer's protests, experts declared what America must do for Black Americans.
The only way to close a wealth gap is by transferring wealth.
See, and that's the socialism. That's what Russia does. No, the only way to stop that wealth gap is to keep the family intact. That's the number one thing we need to do. There's many other things, but we don't need to transfer wealth. Keep the families intact. Because when Joe Biden said, "Well, I'm gonna do all these rules so black people get houses."
Nani?
Let me check this out here. Let me see. Again, remember, I didn't vote for Joe Biden, so he said I'm a white man in black skin, because Joe Biden said if you ain't vote for him, you ain't black. Funny enough, a guy who was white, who pretends he's black, voted for him. And that's actually true. Sean King. He's a white man, but for some reason people say he's black. And that's why they call him Talcum X, because he's like, oh, I'm a black man. No, you're not. Stop lying. Anyway, I digress. Let me see. I'm black. My aunt is black. My cousins are black. They all got houses. How they do that? I don't know. My girlfriend is black. She got a house. Her family's black. She got a house. Her family's black too. How did they get houses? Joe Biden, without your special help. All right. And most of these people you see on the screen, that you just saw right there on the screen, that black woman, these are what you call false prophets. They know how to get money to themselves. That's like how Patrice colors for the Black Lives Matter. All three of those women, how they all for some reason got houses and mansions and cars and all that stuff, and none of the people, Eric Gardner or Trayvon Martin and all those people, none of them got not a cent from Black Lives Matter. How Black Lives Matter built houses in these neighborhoods. And look what's going on now underneath Joe Biden's America. The American dream is basically getting out of reach. Why? Because I've said this before. Let me go back to the main camera. Like my sister, I feel I was having a conversation with my mother just an hour ago. And we were talking about like, man, I want my sister who stays with me get her own house. But I've looked around in this mini area in the Triangle area in North Carolina. Just to get a new, I ain't say fancy, but a 2-bedroom house is $200,000. My first house that I bought was $150. So the cost, and because of Joe, again, with the Blackwater and all those guys, what they're doing, which is despicable, and I'll do a video about that for sure. But they're not. She's black, and you just basically made gain a house mostly unattainable for her, Joe Biden, and the Democrats, and the politicians, and the Republicans too. Don't get me wrong, because they got their hands in this cookie jar too. But I'm saying, with all the inflation, what they're lying about right now and stuff, they just took a lot of wealth from poor people, and mostly, definitely the middle class. Nobody's talking about that too much. But anyway, let's get back to the situation.
We have to abolish policing.
I gotta do piece by piece. I can't let it go. That is stupid. We gotta abolish it. Oh, I'm gonna show you some video about some policing. We don't need to get rid of the police because we know when that happens, we see what the crap happened. Oh, we need reparations. That's not gonna fix nothing. I literally just talked to my girlfriend. If we get reparations, take care of the welfare state. I would take the reparations over the welfare state. Give the black people that much money and over the welfare state. Let's see what happened.
Listening to them, I kept hearing the voice of Tom Sowell.
I haven't been able to find a single country in the world where the policies that are being advocated for blacks in the United States have lifted any people out of poverty.
Sowell's
Thank you, Sowell.
An economist who writes great books about economics and culture. Today, he defends free markets and criticizes the conceit of political planners. But he once was a Marxist.
What was your wake up to what was wrong with that line of thinking?
Facts.
Thomas Sowell was born in North Carolina at the start of the Great Depression. His father died before he was born, his mother soon after. When he was 9, a relative took him to Harlem.
We were much poorer than the people in Harlem or most anywhere else today. But in another sense, in the sense of the things you need to get ahead, I was enormously more fortunate than most black kids today.
Partly because a friend showed him the Harlem Public Library.
When you start getting in the habit of reading when you're 8 years old, that's a different ballgame.
His reading and early life
which is something that I would want to have for my kids. I'm going to make sure they learn to read from little books or whatever. Write books in that regard, but let them learn books, let them know, read, so they could expand their minds. Because I did the same thing too when I was young, and I thank my mom for that. As poor as we were and whatever, she went and bought Encyclopedia Britannica for me. And I used to read that thing like crazy because, again, that's why I said ignorance is not meaning that ignorance does not mean that you're stupid. It just means you're unknowledgeable of the subject. And I'm knowledgeable on a lot of subjects. So that's why I have no problem going and reading stuff.
Turned him into a Marxist.
So I would take the Fifth Avenue bus, pass all these Lord and Taylor and all these fancy places. And then suddenly, there were the tenements. And I wondered, why is this? It's so different. And nothing in the schools or most of the books seemed to deal with that. And Marx dealt with that.
What then changed him was his first job.
I was a summer intern at the U.S. Department of Labor. One of my biggest concerns was about minimum wages. At first, I thought, well, this is good because all these people are poor and they'll get a little higher income, and so that'll be helpful. And then as I studied economics, I began to see, well, there's a downside. They may lose their jobs completely. And when I came up with how we might test this, I was waiting to hear congratulations, you see, that I had this. And I could see these people were stunned. They said, oh, this idiot has stumbled on something that will ruin us all.
Always surprised by that, and that's why I have respect for Thomas Sowell and I like his books and stuff like that. The government don't care for the poor people as they talk, both parties in that regard, but they don't. This is a part that's bad about America. This is me saying this bad things about America.
And I realized the U.S. Department of Labor had its own agenda and interests, and that did not necessarily mean that whether poor people lost their jobs for minimum wages or got higher pay was their highest priority.
He found out that people in the government didn't give a rip whether or not it worked or didn't work. They were simply implementing the policy. And that's what shocked him and caused him to begin to rethink lots of his assumptions.
These video clips come from a new documentary about Sowell.
This whole notion that the black family has always been disintegrating, that is nonsense.
What I find most interesting about Sowell's work is that it utterly contradicts what Americans are taught about black poverty.
And that's what happened right now. A lot of these schools, a lot of these white liberals, I've said before, they program this into y'all heads to tell you all this stuff right there. And it's sad.
Sowell says claims of systemic racism in America are propaganda.
Now, before he goes there, and a lot of liberals like to use this, saying this, and a lot of conservative blacks say this, I'll say this. There is a systemic racism in America. And the systemic racism was to teach to destroy the black family. That's what a systemic racism is. To destroy the black. The government went in. Lyndon B. Johnson said, "Give me the Great Society, and I'll have these black these Enners voting for Democrat for the next 200 years." It's been 60 odd plus years. He's been so far. Majority of blacks vote for. Majority of people who do vote in blacks vote for Democrats. He's been proven correct. He's been proven utterly correct. So in that regard, that's the social that because you got to break that generational problem. Find the right man, ladies, men. Find the right man. Find the right woman. Be in them children's lives, even if it's say like I said, it didn't work out. 2-parent homes, or co-parent, all that is very needed because when you don't have that, you see a lot of problems. The violence goes up. Thomas Sowell did a book, again, conflict of interest. Read that book, you see what he's talking about. He has the data and statistics to back it up. Same thing with Sister Sherazad Ali said when I played her clip when she was like, "Wow, they're building houses for women, but they're not helping the men. They're breaking up the family," because she was incentivized to say, "Okay, I have a kid, I got 2 kids, and I could get a house, I could get an apartment, and the government will pay for everything. But if I have him in here, I'll be out in the street struggling with him. So yeah, you gotta go. I want the apartment with 2 kids." That was what the Great Society was in 2000. Sorry, in the early 1960s. I'm sorry. In that regard, parents were together before the 60s. Black marriage and black birth rates and everything was good and control and whatever. But after the 60s, blacks have stayed stagnant. We have always been between 12 to 14%. We have never passed that because of so many different things.
If you go back into the 20s, you find that a married couple families were much more prevalent among blacks then.
Exactly.
As late as 1930, blacks had lower unemployment rates than whites. So
there you go, see?
All these things that we complain about and attribute to the era of slavery, those things should have been worse in the past than in the present.
Sowell says the bigger cause of blacks' problems today is welfare.
The Great Society, welfare, exactly.
He began to have the mindset that goes with the welfare state so that there was no stigma any longer attached, for example, to being on relief.
The things they thought were going to help did not help, and in many cases made things worse.
Sowell concluded that many government programs did much more harm than good because of affirmative action.
Something like 1/4 of all the black students going to MIT do not graduate. You're talking about a pool of people whom you are artificially turning into failures by mismatching them with the school.
Saying such things doesn't make Sowell popular with today's political elites.
Of course.
But he doesn't seem to care.
Same thing for me too. I don't give a rip. I don't want to be famous because of that. I want to tell you the truth straight up as it is.
Tom is absolutely fearless. He will not compromise any of his opinions for the sake of social politeness.
And so today's politically correct media rarely give his work the attention it deserves.
Exactly.
The media, the television, and the print media, they've wised up. You can't argue with Tom, so you might as well hide what he's doing. And that's what they're doing.
Exactly. RIP to you, Walter Williams, because he's also another professor at accounting, and his videos are good. If you go to my YouTube page on Project Open Mic, you can go down to the raw files. You can get to see this video that's playing, like the full video without me and Stossel, and also you see a video about Walter Williams, who passed away last year. These two libertarian minds, great mind, black minds that I say, they had the answers how to raise black people out of whatever. And it's sad that the media paint these guys as Uncle Tom, which again I debunked that in a video already. But the old Uncle Tom thing is stupid. It's dumb because Uncle Tom was a savior. The guy saved black people, but the Democrats at that time made him into a clown and stuff like that. And sadly it stick for over 100 years. That's ridiculous. But anyway.
They're just ignoring what he's written because there's no way that they can argue with Tom Sowell.
Today, Sowell is a scholar at Stanford's Hoover Institution. He continues to write books about public policy. You can watch the full Sowell documentary at any of these sites starting next week.
So I just want to give you an example of how certain things gained into that regard. And you know what? I just want to get it over. Here's the bad part about stuff too. So I'll just get it over with and just get it. So listen to the news of this situation. So you heard Lamont Hill's the guy who said that. Oh, let's get rid of policing. Really? You want to do that? And who does it hurt the most? It hurts black people as well too. Because black people kill more black people. I've said it before. Statistically, what race kills the most race? Black people kill more black people. White people kill more white people. Asians kill more Asian people. It's Japanese that kill more Japanese people. But people just want to stay in their bubbles and not talk about the reality of the world. So I'm gonna play this to you. It's bad, it's horrible, but this is where you don't want that. We need policing, and also the breakdown of this is what systemic racism, the breakdown of families have done.
Witnesses say as many as 20 teens swarmed that victim before the attack. Boston 25 News reporter Drew Creedus live in downtown Crossing, where Drew, police say it's a group really been harassing the area for a few weeks now.
Harassing the area. What you're about to hear is girls, young black girls are doing this. Why? I can guarantee majority of those young girls don't have a father in their life.
Carrie, investigators say teenagers have been attacking people and vandalizing businesses here in downtown Crossing. Witnesses say as many as 20 teen girls as young as 12 pounced on a young woman, punching and stomping on her, all apparently because of her hairstyle.
I see them chasing after her, pounding on her, knocked her off her bike and just got on her and kicking her, punching her.
The unprovoked attack that Christopher Jackson says he witnessed by the flower stand he works at involved a large group of violent teenage girls and a young woman who was trying to get away from them.
And I heard them saying something to the white girl. She had braids. The one that they beat up.
A police report says the attacker shouted white expletive with braids before the beatdown near the intersection of Washington and Winter Streets Monday night just before 7. When witnesses tried to intervene, police say the teens got violent with them too.
And they were going after them.
I'm like, they have no respect. They have no respect for authority or nothing. I would say that's why I know for sure that they had no fathers, and most of them don't have fathers in life. They might have some fathers in their life, and those fathers were also
you piece of loser,
because they was raised in a certain way by a single mom as well too, or they had in a situation where the mindset was just always set up. They're attacking the cops as well too. They didn't care.
little girls after adults.
A responding officer says one of those girls yelled at him, "What you want to do?" before being met with a sudden punch to his face.
You're a little girl and you're punching a cop's face. Are you out your mind?
A police report says the teens also attacked other responding officers and hurled racially motivated insults at them. And what's reportedly just the latest in a recent barrage of juvenile incidents in the area involving fighting, disturbances inside businesses, vandalism, assaults on citizens and police officers, and civil rights violations.
You know who these people are. Lock them the hell up in juvie. Scare the crap out of them so they don't do it. Give them a Rorschach test, basically, in a way. But give them a shock test to be like, okay, let's not do this. They don't care because the situation they are.
Yeah, they always fight. And I was called the cop.
The owner of Black Seed Cafe says the cops were called to his restaurant last month for a wild fight involving teens. And just 2 days before that, police say aggressive teens attacked an 81-year-old man inside a nearby McDonald's. Earlier that same day, investigators allege that a group of juveniles began shouting Black Lives Matter inside Silvertone Bar.
Oh my goodness. See why I said what I said?
After the staff there refused to serve them alcohol. Police say
You're teens. You're not supposed to drink the alcohol.
those teenagers spat on an employee and customers before shattering the front door of the establishment.
I do not condone violences. I don't do crazy stuff. I don't want to. You spit on me. All right? You spit on me. Literally.
Will send you to Jesus.
Okay? I'm just saying. Don't you dare do that to me. At all.
I didn't want to come here because of them. It would be nice if they take care of them.
It's pretty concerning for people who live in this area, and tonight police are stepping up patrols here. Police are now keeping a closer eye on Downtown Crossing after this new video emerges showing a disturbing attack that unfolded.
And the thing about it, we know who the women are because look at this. This one right here had a camera, so they put it on the internet. So you know who these pieces are. These.
You piece of loser.
You know where they are.
Monday evening before the sun went down.
Pretty upset about it, you know, not something you want to see.
Neighbors are appalled by the broad daylight attack. Police say a group of teens, along with a 12-year-old, punched and kicked the female victim who lay helpless on the sidewalk, crying out in pain.
That was baffling, honestly. It was incredible to see that because I've never seen any type of thing like that in my life ever.
Investigators say the 20-year-old victim says she was targeted because of her hairstyle.
It is shocking and it's troublesome because obviously you don't want to go out in your neighborhood where you live outside of your door and seeing something like that happening.
The vicious attack is just one in a series of troubling crimes in this area in the last few weeks. Neighbors and businesses welcome the police response and hope it will calm the wave of violence.
I always see the police around, so I feel more protected.
Again, I am not backing the police to a degree. I said again, they're bad cops up there, but they're not a lot. They're few and far between in many situations. Okay, they just are, and we need to get rid of the bad cops as best as we can. But there are good cops out there as well too. We got to figure out this line and stop. But this whole non-police crap, just like what Patrice Collins said, we don't need police. We don't need policing, and we don't need what was it? What she said again? We don't need policing, and we don't need I forgot what she said. Dang it! Is that a tip of my tongue, and I can't remember it. Surveillance. Yeah, you know they have the surveillance and stuff like that. Okay, I got you. So let me again, ma'am, in your world. I got a question. In your world that you're spouting out with your Marxism and everything, so when a man or a woman do something bad or whatever a crime happens, what you gonna do? And if they're violent people, where you gonna put them? He always just said, because he also said disbanded the jail system. Okay, the jail system needs help too. It needs to be done a certain way as well too. But where are you gonna put them? We don't need jails. We don't need policing. We don't need surveillance. We don't. What are you doing? And let's be honest about this. You don't believe in the S yourself because your house that you have in California. What do you have on your? Oh, you have a fence, and you have cameras, and you have barbed wire on top. So to protect from who? Ain't the white man are you running from? You running from the same? You running from some? You did that for some black people. So let's not pretend that nonsense. You don't believe in what you're saying, and that's what a lot of these people do. These guys are charlatans. Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson. These are the new, like I said, Sean King. All these people are the new Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, because they don't believe in what they're saying. And this is a bad part about America that I don't like. It's victim blaming and trying to curdle certain people. And again, we let something. There was a white woman who killed her black boyfriend, and she's very popular, but she was toxic. We think that I believe that she killed him. She killed him, and she just used the self-defense crap, whatever kind of guy. From all things, the guy was a nice guy. But the thing about it is, here's the funny part: the guy, she turned him to be more radical. This white woman the white woman that he was trying to, it was his girlfriend, as he said, more radical. To be, I hate America. America is racist, and like any other country in the world ain't racist, but America is racist. They don't do stuff. Black Lives Matter, all this stuff. As you can see, the young kids said when they wasn't getting alcohol, they shout out, "Oh, you didn't want to give alcohol. Black Lives Matter." You spit on a person again. I'm telling you already. You spit on me.
I will send you to Jesus.
Just saying, just letting you know. But anyway, in that regard, that's the bad part about certain things. But let's go into show you. So let's go to a country that's close by. Cuba is one of them, and Cuba is documented of how things are. But let's go to a country that was rich, and what happened to it. And I went to that country when it was good times. Ain't no more. But give you what socialism has done. And again, if this is what you guys want, you want Russia to rule the world. This is what you want. Okay.
Folks,
the president says he has a mandate.
The people of this nation have spoken.
That means his government can do all sorts of good things.
We can ban assault weapons.
Government can do.
Good girl. I gotta call this out. This ain't a bad thing. It's just something.
All sorts of good things. He has a mandate.
The people of this nation have.
Look at Joe Biden, how he looks. I'm just saying his looks. I don't care what he says, because I think you already know what I think about him.
You piece of loser.
In that regard.
Spoken.
That means his government can do all sorts of good things.
But he's in his 80s. Look how he aged so much. Oh my goodness. Obama did that. Bush did that. That job is very stressful. Being the president of the world, I get it. And man, it aged you like a dog. It ages you like a bad dog. Bad for the. You just look bad. Ugh. Okay. But anyway, let's go.
We can ban assault weapons.
Gun control's on the agenda. And many progressives also want to outlaw hate speech.
Hate speech is fundamentally at odds with the Constitution.
No, it's not. It's free speech. Who dictates what's hate?
And above all, they'll spend much more of your money.
Exactly.
Without creating an inflation problem.
Sounds great, except those policies were just tried in Venezuela. Hugo Chavez thrilled American celebrities by embracing not just socialism, but the very ideas they'd advocated.
This is you and Hugo Chavez.
He says, help me write my speech.
He is one of the most important forces we've had on this planet.
Oh, Sean Penn.
You have to be blind to actually believe that.
Andres Gilarte is one of the thousands of Venezuelans who protested socialist rule. Here he is with his friends. They risked their lives to protest.
Undeterred by security forces, participants flood the streets of Caracas.
It was like a war, actually. When you're running from bullets and you're running from tear gas.
The government killed hundreds of protesters. Yet the protests continued for months because those very policies that American celebrities loved created horrible hardships.
We can't take it anymore.
Now even basic protest is often illegal because Venezuela passed a hate speech law.
There you go. There you go. There you have it. Hate speech law. Oh, of course they did.
The law bans Venezuelans from spreading violent or hateful content through TV, radio, or social media platforms.
Yeah. So when the government does the violence, we ain't gonna share that. So it's against the law. When the government says, "Oh, what you just said is hateful," that's what I said. That's why I talk about the government cannot withhold speech. That's what the First Amendment, really, the Bill of Rights, talk about. The government should not withhold the speech.
Yet that's exactly what half the Democrats in America now want.
Free speech is protected. Hate speech is not protected.
A ban on hate speech may sound good, but the problem is
the ruling party, they decide what hate speech is.
In America, some politicians in the ruling party also want to add 4 new justices to the Supreme Court.
A 13-member Supreme Court.
Chavez did pack his Supreme Court.
They changed it from 20 people to 32 people.
And the court has never ruled against him.
After that, no.
Venezuela also passed gun control laws, something
shocking
else America's ruling party would like to do. But in Venezuela, people discovered that taking people's guns also makes it easier for the government to come to your home and take your property.
See how it actually happens in Venezuela. You're just in your shop selling shoes, and some government officer arrives and say, "We're going to shut down your business." That will be completely different if that business owner had a gun.
But the government would just come in with bigger guns.
If we actually had a culture like you have here in the U.S., it will have been incredibly difficult.
And the restrictions on guns didn't even reduce crime.
Again, as Tripp would say, shocking. I'll be surprised. And Tripp is right across from this country, and he knows about this. For anybody who doesn't watch the show, Tripp is a person on the side chat. He lives right beside Venezuela, so he knows how this situation is. He's of course on a Caribbean island, but he's in Curacao, which is close to Venezuela.
In fact, Venezuela's murder rate rose.
These laws never work. Citizens don't have guns, but the criminals have the bigger guns.
Exactly, they're criminals. They know banning guns by law. Okay. Well, law-abiding citizens, yes, but the criminals are literally lawbreakers, so they're not going to follow it.
The most important lesson from Venezuela is probably the danger in the idea that governments can fund everything they want to do by simply printing more money.
The federal,
which we're doing right now with all the trillions of dollars Joe Biden has been adding on to that. We went from $23 trillion to $30 trillion in almost 2 years. Ridiculous.
Government, it can never run out of money. It never has to worry about finding the money in order to be able to spend.
There is no financial limit.
More spending won't create inflation, we're told.
Yeah. Okay, this video was did in 2001. What's the inflation rate right now? Oh yeah, 8%. Oh man, you can't make this stuff up.
It'll do the opposite.
Driving down prices, not raising prices.
There's a new movement in America that we could just print more money and it won't cause problems, won't cause inflation, and it'll just stimulate.
Well, of course, John. That's how economy works. You just print money because money comes out from the trees.
Venezuela printed that money and spent it on programs they said would help the poor.
His supporters say that Chavez is the country's first president to genuinely care about the lower class.
But the poor were the people hurt most by the inflation that followed.
And this is what I said, and that's Russian TV. There was just that's what I said. You're gonna be filthy rich or dirty poor.
Cost of most basic goods has soared.
The oil-rich country's inflation rate at 270%.
Inflation expected to hit 700% this year.
400,000%.
400,000%?
1,000,000%.
Holy
Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
1,000,000%? Holy smokes.
Inflation's up in the United States too, and the direction looks ugly.
Yep.
But inflation here hasn't exploded the way it did in Venezuela.
It doesn't mean that it can't happen.
That, unfortunately, is true. Remember, Venezuela was once very rich.
Yep. We were the richest economy in Latin America. We were the promised land. People from America were going to Venezuela to build businesses.
But now, Venezuelans try to escape,
carrying their lives on their backs.
Everything can fall to the ground really quickly. Inflation is like a cancer. You never know when it's going to hit you.
The idea that massive government spending and all those other feel-good policies will work in America when they've already failed elsewhere, that's a dangerous myth.
I played a video before. It failed in Zimbabwe. It failed in Russia. It failed. People don't get it. It failed in Cuba. It fails in China to a degree. Certain regions of China, how that thing works out in that regard. It failed in Sweden. It failed in Holland. Those countries had it, but they came back to capitalistic and figure things out. Or free market. I like using free market better than in that regard. It failed in all those things. And that's what you guys want. That's the same kind of thing you guys want from that country. You people are crazy. Nah, I ain't doing that. No. Nope. But let's go on right now in China. Next country, which will be the most wonderful thing that will rule. Y'all want China. Y'all want China to, most people that will rule the country will be China. There's no free speech in China, 1. 2, there is no let me see if I can figure this out. If I could play this for y'all while I'm talking here. Give me a second. They have a lot of slaves in China. They have child slaves. They have regular slaves. They have Christian slaves. They have Muslim slaves. They have if you talk about religion, they don't care. They're slaves. So even if you think, oh, you don't like Christian, you think you're Muslim. Like I said, you have the Uyghurs. If you're not that, and if you think, oh, I want to do Rastafarian or whatever, you think anything. If you don't think that the government is your God in communism, that's what. If you don't think that they're your God, then, as I've been playing the clip,
will send you to Jesus.
It will send you to whatever you think your God is, because of how things are. Right now, at this point, they're in okay, give me a second. Sorry, I didn't mean that. Press that. Right now in China, in Shanghai, as we talked on the side chat last Friday, on Shanghai, they're locking down because of the COVID stuff like that. And they're saying no people, and China, of course, is lying because they own the state media and everything that said that nobody's died from COVID. Well, 1, I know that's a lie. I already debunked that, not the major part, because I've debunked the bigger part when people was like, oh, America has the worst case of COVID, blah, 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 blah. No. And China at the time, when I did a video, China said only 4,000 people died. I'm like, wait, whoa. Let's put on our thinking cap here, shall we? Remember I said individuals are smart? So let's be a smart individual here. A country that has $1.4 billion only had 4,000 people die from COVID. A country, so let's go to America. A country that has 350 million people, hundreds of thousands of people have died. Oh, okay. And you'll be like, okay, I see where you're coming from, but still that doesn't. Well, let me add this to the equation, and I showed it on that video. I forgot which video it was. I showed it as well too. Let's go with the second most populous country in the world, India. They had the same amount of people dying. They had a higher number of people dying too, and they have 1.3 billion people. So if they have a lot of people dying, you're telling me China doesn't have a lot of people dying? Get out of here. Mm-mm. And again, I'm only going to delve in this a little bit. I'm going to go deeper because China is mostly the one that would rule the world if America ever backs down or be cowardice or whatever. So I'll go into that. Russia basically played a hand and them hurt themselves right now with the war. So I don't see them as a viable spot to be calling out in that regard. But I want to see if I could find. I was trying to see if I could find that video in Shanghai. Shanghai has does a lot of the work and stuff for the world. So the supply market has gone up. Again, when that happens, what happened? It has gone. I mean, the supply market has been shut down. So in that regard, what happened? People now are losing their lives to this, one, but two, prices has gone crazy. Super, super, super crazy. Which is crazy in that regard. I want to see, give me a second here, if we'll find the, that is that, should I? Okay, well, I'll play the clip. So remember I said on a side chat, I said that I stated that
Virginia is for
I stated that Orwell did not went far enough when you talk about how when people try to do this utopia and all the stuff they give up for how they're doing this. They literally, and I've been saying this, everybody knows by now. If you think you have COVID, sometimes they take away your kids from you. They shut your doors, and they give you food. I mean, because of so much, there's over 200 something million people in Shanghai, which is a lot of population. They can't keep up with the orders and stuff like that because again, the government can't do all that stuff.
From Studio C, where enough A is 8% pay cut did many times. Better adjust my chicken beaks, which were corn nuts. Yeah, it's right when Fox's take on it is if Joe Getty on this Tuesday inside your apartment with the doors bolted shut.
China!
From the outside.
Hey, honey, the drone outside just told us to control our desire for
Stay home. Mark.
drones telling people to stay home. Control your soul's desire for freedom, it says.
That's what the drones are saying to people. Control your soul's desire for freedom. You can't get no Orwellian than that, which is again, he didn't even think that far. But again, while you're like I said, like they said right there, I'll keep on playing a little bit.
Drones telling people to stay home. Control your desire for freedom. The drone announces
Thank you, Mr. Drone. Thank you.
The drone says to you there in Shanghai as you starve inside your apartment with the doors bolted shut.
China!
From the outside.
Hey, honey, the drone outside just told us to control our desire for freedom.
Can you play that one more time?
And for food, probably.
Can you play that one more time, Michael? I want to make sure I get the phrasing just right.
Drones telling people to stay home. Control your soul's desire for freedom, it says.
Right. Your soul's desire.
Drones are telling the
Shanghai who are starving to death. And their kids have been taken away from them, and they don't have any idea where they are. And they saw their little dog beaten to death in the streets with a shovel, if you've seen that video. What the frig? Anyway.
That's that country. And again, I've just said again, they have multiple slaves and all that stuff in that regard. But people, I don't get it. This country has, you don't want, I don't know. It's not good. It's just not good. And in that regard, I want to let you play it because this is something, another thing. Just like I had with the socialists and stuff. Now here with the communists is going to come over. Here, I want to tell you about what they do in China. And they want to bring this nonsense over to America. Stop. Why you guys are taking these evil things? Because again, these people thinking, oh, they have a better system. Let's again use our brain and logically think this. Okay, let's play.
Episode of the science fiction series Black Mirror. A young woman named Lizzie lives in a world where people rate every interaction they have with another person. Think of rating a restaurant on TripAdvisor, except in this scenario, they are rating you. In this dystopian scenario, Lizzie obsesses about improving her rating. Whatever she says and does could make or break her future, from the cost of her rent to the quality of her health care. Inevitably, this leads people to associate with those who have a higher rating and disassociate with those who have a lower one. Turns out that Lizzie isn't very good at navigating this system. By the conclusion of the episode, well, let's just say it didn't end well for her. Black Mirror is fiction, but the society it paints is becoming a reality in the People's Republic of China. You may have heard of it. It's called the social credit system. By all indications, it's the future of that country. If we are not careful, it may be our future here.
The hell it ain't. I ain't playing. Like I said, we got to stop this nonsense. And some of these Democrats are talking, oh, this is a great thing to do. No, it's not the government's job to regulate like this.
I'm drawing this to your attention because I left China to get away from the all-seeing eye of the Chinese government. I fled to the West in search of freedom. I found it. But now I'm seeing troubling signs that remind me of what I left behind. The loss of freedom doesn't happen overnight. The Chinese social credit system has been decades in the making. It was okay at first. These things always are. Throughout the 1990s, Chinese banks developed financial credit rating programs like those we have in America to increase lending in rural areas. So far, so good.
Yeah.
But the government...
And that's what it's saying of the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Officials soon realized that similar programs could be set up to gather other information about the behavior of its citizens. By 2014, new technology allowed the state to monitor what people said, did, bought, read, and searched on the internet.
Which is crazy.
Why? Because more data equals more control.
Exactly. That's why I don't like, that's why I try my best to have a lot of privacy, and you should do the exact same thing too with VPNs and stuff like that. Like where I'm at in my house, I got 2 VPNs running. I have Norton, which is that, but I also have my own VPN that you could set up through Microsoft, whatever, just to make sure, you know, they don't block it. Because again, it is annoying. I'll say this. It is annoying, you know, the pop-ups like, oh, can we allow to follow you, or where, you know, when I'm like, okay, I want to buy this thing, and it's like, oh, the zip code, I gotta put in a zip code all the time because they're trying to track you and everything. I get that. That's sick. And the same thing with the same thing I have for my Google. Like inside a Google app, you can disable the tracking and the tracking data collecting history as well too. Now I can't. That's the only thing I let chart because I do use Google Maps. I do use that, but Google Google used to track what stores you've been in, where you've been at, whatever. I used to hate that. So you can't. There's a way to stop that. You gotta go into Google settings, go to history data, wipe it clean, and then go into where you track where you move, and you could pause it. Now, do I know it works perfectly? I don't know. I just using what other people say to stop them, whatever. But I do know when I go to the part where it says watch my history, it's zero. There's nothing in there. So here's what it is. Data is more control. That is correct on that situation. And tell you what to buy, who to buy, like all the stuff. So of course, if your company that's good with the government, you could get you pay the government, as we know how that works in America. You pay the government, and then the government will say, yeah, let's use these people, whatever. Because again, Nancy Pelosi's evil. She already done said that we should not while Martha Stewart could go to jail for inside trading, but Nancy Pelosi should not go for inside trading. I'm like, wait, you literally are inside trading. Literally, you got the best trading ever because you write the laws that would affect the companies. That's why you are, in my opinion, that for her situation, because she is a
piece of loser.
Exactly.
That year, the State Council, China's highest administrative body, issued a blueprint for Phase 1 of the social credit system. The central government then established pilot programs in 43 cities across the country. In one of these cities, Rongcheng, local officials labeled certain behaviors as either acceptable or unacceptable. Every adult was assigned 1,000 social credit points. They gained a lost point depending on how well their public and private lives conformed to government standards.
Oh my goodness. That is something I'm not me. I ain't doing that.
No, son of a bitch!
Buying diapers was fine. You are taking care of your family. Playing video games, questionable.
Again, I got a lot of friends who are video game players. I am a video game player.
Because the state says it as a sign of laziness.
Yeah, China, you go F off. I'm gonna say that to you. Yes, I play video games, but I still handle what I gotta do. That is my decompression from work. That is my outsourcing, so I don't get. And a lot of people who do video games, majority of people who do video games, is a cognitive dissonance of just taking things away from stress and not going out and doing crazy stuff. But whatever.
And discussing religion or
here you go. What I'm talking about.
Or grumbling about state policy. Unacceptable. Lose too many points and you might miss out.
And this is the crazy part. We know about the credit score in America with the loans and stuff like that. We know how that works, and I get that. I understand that. Well, listen to what having the social credit store does.
Out on privileges like bank loans, faster internet, and plane tickets.
You can't buy tape, but have the money for it. Well, your social score says you should not be traveling.
Big companies such as Alibaba work with the government to make the system viable. Imagine the government knows and judge what you buy on Amazon, and you get the idea. It's assumed that in the near future, the system will be mandated for all Chinese citizens.
Yep.
Already, many people have been enrolled without their knowledge.
Of course.
Some in China think that social credit system promotes good behavior.
Not really.
Addressing everything from crime to bad driving and financial delinquency.
No,
but the system doesn't stop there. It hasn't taken Chinese authorities long to draw up massive blacklist for those deemed unacceptable. According to The Guardian in England, there are 23 million Chinese on those lists. and the number is growing. One of them, Liu Hu, is a journalist who published articles exposing government corruption and censorship. The system banned him from flying, traveling on a train, buying property, and taking out loans without any due process. The Muslim Uyghurs of Xinjiang have seen even worse. Many have been sent to re-education camps for unacceptable behavior. With examples like these, it isn't hard to envision a time when loyalty to the Chinese government will determine all aspects of its citizens' lives, where they live, where they work, and where their kids go to school. Everything we see in China, we are starting to see here in the West. Australia, Austria, and even the US have imposed or attempted to impose mandatory COVID-19 vaccinations. Government officials openly pressure banks not to give loans to disfavored business like oil companies. Parents who protest what their kids are learning in government schools are labeled domestic terrorists.
Exactly.
This experience is already becoming a reality
and we are
for almost a fifth of the world's population. It didn't end well for her. If we are not vigilant, it won't end well for us. I'm Pei Li for Prager University.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's crazy. So and of course, I'm happy that the COVID mandate didn't happen the way it is. Thank goodness. We fought the teacher, the parents are fighting up. That's why I have shows about parents, giving them respect to fight these things in that regard. Good for them. Do that. 'Cause it's crazy how things are now. Literally is. And this is the next country. So again, America's bad. It has its problems. I showed it. But this is what you just see is way worse. And you want that to be the ruling country? Oh. Yeah, you guys can take that with a grain of salt. Again, you talk about religion, you're going to jail. You don't think the government is a god? You're going to go to jail. Or you might not be seen ever again. They might send you to Jesus or whatever God, like I said before. They're going to tell you, if you don't want, program your kids, they're going to tell you, hey, we're going to program your kids to say whatever we want. Like, we want them to say yay. But in reality, we know that's a bad thing. Just stating that. America has its faults, but we have to be vigilant to keep these problems away from it. A lot of these people came from other countries and realized, wow, I'm seeing this, like the guy said before, I'm seeing a lot of this thing that I had in my other country that was bad. That's why I never understand why a lot of other people, illegals and stuff come over, like, we want this, they want to be the country that they came from, they run from. Like, why? If I came from a bad situation, I do not want to have that same bad situation where I moved to. Sorry for the camera shake, but I'm just a little passionate about that. It's just weird. I want to have a better situation. Like I have. I came from Nevis, moved to St. Thomas, came up to America, run a company, got my degrees, got a good job. Fortunately, in the future, God bless me, be married, have kids, and enjoy my life with my family in this nice house, or maybe another house that's different. But at least I know I don't have. I have like I said, Joe Biden. I have me a house that have enough rooms to take care of my family, take care of my anything that comes up. That's what it is. And also turn things to a business situation like we have right now. So, again, I'm going to deep dive in more in China. Like I said, Russia basically showed its hand and showed that it's not as competent as a lot of people thought it was. Really. So, but for me, China is the more dominant one. They have most of our debt. We get most of the stuff from there. America, basically, the politicians sold workers, sold jobs, sold materials, sold everything mostly to China. which is stupid. Like when the COVID happened, most of our protective gear was made in China, and of course China's like, well, we want it more in America here than there. We should have a lot of industries in America. That's why I give shout outs to Intel, who's trying to expand their thing outside of China, like in Tel Aviv in Israel, and also try to build a plant in Arizona. Please. AMD and other company that does AMD T-Mask. So with T, I forgot it was, do the same thing too. But we should have that. But we should have our own fertilizer. We should have our own pump our own gas, as you heard me say multiple times. Pump our own gas, natural gas. We should pump have our own. We don't even do our own penicillin in America, which is retarded and stupid. We should have a place that does penicillin. Like, we should have all these things here in America in case things go south. Hell, I got a story about a solar flare that happened and hit mostly it got because of how the world's tilted. It hit Asia and Australia and knocked out some stuff. So it goes to the point where I was talking about a while ago when women say, some of these women say we don't cook. Okay, when the power goes up, what you gonna do? It is a reality. Solar flares are reality. EMP from the sun is a reality that can happen. But in that regard, I want to thank you guys for giving me your time, your mind, your eyes, your ear, your mind to open up to what we got to say in that regard. Again, if you want to watch the Thomas Sowell video that I talked about, you go to Project Open Mic on YouTube. You see it right down there. Go down to the raw file, and you can watch the Walter Williams, and you can watch the Thomas Sowell about that situation. See how it is. We need how to help Black people in that regard. But also, these are practical things that can help anybody. Also, we need you go to Linktree again and check out, like I just talked about the taxes and stuff like that, you can go to Spotify and check out not only the video podcast but the audio podcast as well too, and hear and share those as well if you want to use less data instead of using the video stuff in that regard. I don't know what the bandwidth is for the video podcast on Spotify compared to YouTube, but if you want it, you have it. So there will be video, it will be specific. I'm going to use the audio for like the podcast that we have like right now. For specific subjects is what I'm going to use the video for on Spotify. So again, check out Project Overmic on Spotify. Again, if you have Stitcher, you can check it out there. Also Google Podcasts and Anchor. Then if you want to watch this stuff, if you have a Twitch TV, check us out, Project Overmic on Twitch TV. Also you now, Nico in Japan, and also live now, YouTube and Facebook, of course. TT Records on Facebook. You should be able to see that and watch the show if you want to see the live there. All right. With that said, we'll catch you tomorrow with the side chat. I want to thank you guys out there again for that. Like I said, remember, evil comes in all shapes, size, color, creed, race, height, sex, nationality, countries. Evil is just evil. Remember, literally, people are stupid. Individual smart. Be that smart individual. This is your boy Take for Project Over My. Peace out. Have a good night. We'll catch you tomorrow for the side chat.